Welcome to the Cars and Cancer podcast. This is episode number 2, and there's only 2 of us here today. I've got
Yeah,
myself,
the missing
obviously,
one.
yeah, and we've got Andy. Unfortunately, Darren is probably caught up in shopping in Aldi or something like that, so he's going to join us later.
Yeah,
Um, I've upgraded the technology. I am now speaking through a what do you call it? It's a headphones with a microphone. I'm sure
yeah,
they have some sort of fancy name, but yeah, no
yeah.
fancy mics yet. But I've
No,
upgraded to headphones with a microphone. So Darren's going to join us at some point, which would be nice.
when he's
Uh,
done the middle of Aldi.
the middle of Aldi, yeah, he's probably getting dragged around there. He's probably bought a canoe so far.
Yeah,
It's the sort of thing you buy from the Aldi, isn't it? Canoe and
yeah,
I don't know, a horse saddle,
that's
all kinds of
it. Yeah.
kinds of random crap that you get in the aisles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so last week I'm referring to my notes because that's how prepared I am. This is good, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I got some
You
notes as well.
have you?
Yeah, some more
Oh,
notes.
oh, well done, mate. Nice one. Sounds like we're kind
We're
of getting
getting
into the
there,
hang of
Ed.
this. We are. We're getting there, mate. We're getting there. We're big time now. So
Yeah,
we need to make notes. But I made notes. It was actually 2 weeks ago because we didn't do last week because well, one, you buggered off, which you could tell us about that.
yeah,
Um, and you were talking about you were going to wait to speak to the consultant. You were going to get,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. Because they
Got
it was a phone call that they wanted me to answer, and then I got a letter saying I need to go in to see my consultant.
gotcha. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So me, my mum, and my wife went.
Hmm.
Bad news again. They'd just noticed a tiny bit of what comes before, like light, hazy sort of thing on my brain.
Okay.
So she said, we're going to have to try you on chemo, see if we can get rid of it. Because last time when I went through all this with my brain, I was supposed to have a plate put in, it was all healed up, and then I would go on chemo for a bit. But they said the scans
Yeah.
before didn't show any signs of cancer, so. And I honestly thought I'd be in for another year before it would come back again. But
Hmm.
they said it'd come back again, and I'd have to start chemo. Now I understand this chemo because I've done it. This will be the third time I've done this chemo.
You're
Um,
on the hat trick now, mate, aren't you?
yeah, the middle one I only did it for a week, and then I come off it and went back into hospital. But yeah, I sort of know what's going on. So yeah, it just it yeah, it's really hard because you go off your food, you get really lethargic, and you just
Mm.
don't feel like you want to do anything. So I have to take about 8 o'clock. I take an anti-sickness, and I have to wait an hour, and then I can take these 3 chemo tablets at
Okay.
night at 9 o'clock at night, and then I spend all night with it in my system. And then obviously I feel sick the next day until I've got to do it again the next day. Now, yesterday was my last day of doing my first chemo session,
Yeah.
so I'm allowed to eat after 8 o'clock tonight, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. If I could paint a picture then,
yeah,
because I can only speak from experience that I've had or I've seen other people. So, are you
I can't hear you, Aid.
okay?
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So, are you at home when you're having this chemo?
Yes, yeah,
Right,
and
because
yeah,
because 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 I imagine, and probably other people probably think the same as me, that they envisage that your plump, you've got is it a catheter, and
yeah,
you've got or you've got a Hickman line or something like that, and these tubes go into you, and
yeah,
you've got like a bag.
yeah.
And that's how I envisage chemo. And I always envisage chemo that was something that you would go into hospital and they'd plumb you in, and you'd
Yes,
stay for whatever, and
yeah,
then you'd come out.
yeah. And I've actually seen that for myself. When you go into the cancer centre in Stoke, you have
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 20 people a day that go in for that. I went up for blood tests, and the people there did me a blood test, and I seen them all lining up, sitting on the chairs, going in for chemo. That was when I was
Yeah,
on radiotherapy. That one was, and that was like years and years ago. But that's what I thought chemo was about.
yeah,
But mine is like it's like an anti-sickness pill that I take. I can touch that, and these chemo tablets, you have to put them in like a plastic tub. You can't touch them with any of your
yeah.
fingers. You got to
Okay.
open the bag and drop them in, and
Hmm.
then put them in your mouth and swallow them.
Oh, it's not a chemical then. It's not because I always thought chemo was chemical, but
Yes,
but you're taking it in sort of tablet form then.
yes, tablet form. Yeah, but obviously, um, you can't put it in your tea that I'm drinking my tea out of now because it's like really
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah, I imagine if you get it on anything you can take again, it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I remember. I can kind of relate to that. I remember when this was pre-COVID, and
Yeah,
I was having my first chemo, and you haven't a clue what's going on, and the nurses turn up and they've got gloves on and they're wearing masks and those sort of splash visors, and
yeah,
they've got this bag of liquid that spending on this trolley, and it's got a big hazardous sign on it,
yeah,
and you're thinking, what you're putting that in my
yeah.
system? And they're like, yeah, this is lethal stuff, you can't
No,
do this, you can't body. And they go, oh yeah. And it's probably the same with you, like with the tablets, and
yeah,
there's different types of chemos, and they'll do it
yeah.
in a certain order, and so you'll have this one for a couple of hours, and they control the drip rate, and once
So
that,
is
then
that
you've
with
got.
yours on a drip then?
Yes, mate. Yeah, I was pretty much confined to the bed,
Mm,
and yeah, so I'd be on chemo for sort of half a day kind of thing, if you like. I was sort of plumbed in,
yeah,
um, and I think if I remember right, you get like a bag of liquid. There was about three different types of chemo I'd have at one point, or something like that, and
yeah. It's not
it was
good.
it was all very clever, really. And I remember them. I'm kind of stealing your thunder here, sorry, mate, but I
No,
kind
no,
of
you carry
remember
on.
when they sort of they'd say, right, okay, so we'll give you this part of the chemo first, and what this does, this identifies the cancer cells and sticks to the cancer cells, and you go, oh, okay, fine, yeah. And then the next one you take, I, is then I able to identify the cancer cells because this chemo's attached itself to it, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
It's the way my crude brain works. But then, because that the second round of chemo would be no good because it wouldn't know what to attack. So because they get it in such a way that they all sort of work together. So the first one attaches to the cancer cells, and the second one can then identify and go, oh right, I've got to kill you, and it goes away and it kills those cells. Um, and yeah, so I mean, what sort of effects have you got afterwards? I bet you're shattered, aren't you?
yeah. Fatigue's a big one for me, Aid.
Yeah,
Um, it really is. Like I'm lying in bed and I'm thinking if because I move about in bed, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be so sick in a minute. You just get, that feeling when you're just gonna be sick and it's on the top of your chest, and you're like, I'm gonna be sick, but you
yeah,
don't. So and obviously
no,
I don't want to. It's because I've got a family, so I need to be around for them. But it's just difficult, Aid. It really is. It's just, but
it, it must be.
Callie knows
Sorry.
what it's like because the last two times I've been on it, so she kind of takes all the taking the kids to school. She's sorted all that out now. So if I get up, I'm up. But if I
Yeah,
don't get up, she doesn't say, "Why haven't you
yeah.
got up?" She's really good like that. I take my hat off to her. I really do.
I mean, and this is one of the big things that I think a lot of people don't realize is that when people are going through cancer, it's all very much about the other person who's got the cancer, and how awful it is for them, and that
Yeah,
kind of thing. But Macmillan will probably say better on this, but you do. I think the people. What am I trying to say? Is that your family gets severely
yeah.
impacted by it, and it's not just you going through it; it's your entire family. I mean, you've got
It's,
young children,
it's like
and
your way of saying it. all right, I'm on chemo, but don't say you can't do this, you can't. Just let me get on with what I can do, and if I can't do it, don't be like,
Yeah.
well, why haven't you done that? Just like
Yeah.
get involved with what I'm doing, and if I can't do
Yes.
it, don't worry about if I can do it. Don't say why are you doing this when you couldn't do that yesterday. Like everybody gets on board, and like I went down for the Remembrance Sunday thing. And my mum and dad were there. My brother was
Yeah.
there, and they're like, "You're all right, yeah, I'm all right." But that's it. They didn't ask loads of questions. But
Yeah.
after when they were on their own, you're feeling all right, and because there was other people there, they didn't want to say, "Oh, he's on chemo. This is his."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't like to tell everybody that I'm on
Yeah.
chemo. But yeah, it's really weird way of looking at it, Aid. It really is. But I've done
Yeah.
my,
I mean,
sorry.
no, you go, mate. I keep interrupting you. I
So
apologise.
I've done my first week now. I'm still feeling a little bit sick now.
Yeah.
This is going to sound really bad because it's obviously on the podcast, but the anti-sickness tablets they give you, they really bung you up. Like, I haven't been able to go for number 2 for like 5 days.
So, have you got Movicol? Is it
Yeah, I've got
Movicol?
Movicol and the other one. I'm
Yeah.
using them like they're going out of fashion.
It's like a sherbet dim dab, is
Yeah,
it?
but I mean, yeah, I won't explain to you too much, but I'm going to get through this being bunged up. I'm going to get through it, but next time I'm going to start taking the Movicol stuff before I go on it, like
Yeah.
the day before or the day before that. So I'm in the routine of going when I don't feel like going. Because I remember last time
Yeah.
I was really bad with not going to the toilet, like, and it doesn't help when you
Yeah.
because you're feeling sick
Yeah.
anyway, and you walk back to it. It doesn't help. It's not the best.
No, it doesn't, mate. I ended up taking Movicol twice a day. I took it in the
Yeah,
morning and took it in the
yeah,
afternoon, and it does taste like crap. It really does. I know it says it's like a orange flavour or a blackcurrant
yeah,
flavour, and if anybody from Movicol's listening to this, I do
yeah. It's
apologise.
not.
But it does taste like crap. It really
You
does, and you literally just have to down
have to
it.
down it. Yeah,
You down it, and then and I think it takes a good few days for it to start getting in your
it does.
system.
Yeah, and
Um,
there's
and and then it, and
Seneca.
it
I take that quite often as well through this week.
yeah
2 in the morning, 2 at night. So obviously I'm
okay
going a little bit, but I'm not going like I used to go every single morning.
yeah
But now
you're not as regular then.
not as regular as I was, and it just bungs you up. Doesn't make you feel good with the
No.
chemo as well. But yeah, I should get to the bottom of that.
No pun intended.
Oh, no pun intended. So yeah,
I've got to get this right because if it doesn't work, it'd be terrible, won't it? So what do you, how did the constipated accountant relieve himself?
I don't know.
He worked it out with a pencil.
Oh God.
So there's one.
Yes.
There's one for you, mate.
There's
That'll get you through.
Thanks.
I'm trying to check at the same time. I think
Is Darren ready?
he said I've clicked on it and it says recording finished. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. So I'm going to have a look on here and see if I'm able to invite him. And I don't think I can, but I'm going to. It's such a pain in the arse inviting you, pair. You just this app. Really is just. I don't know. I can't say the name of it, but yeah, I've invited him. I don't know what to do. Can he not still join?
I don't know.
I'll message him now. I wonder if he's looking at the old invite. Right. Okay. I've sent him a message anyway, and hopefully we can get a bit further on that then. So you had a week of this chemo then?
I've had a week of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're sick of it already?
I'm sick of it already, Aid.
Yeah. So
I've got 11.
what's this haze? What's this haze? I mean, is that cancer? Is that something that sort of
So
suggests that?
basically, Kelly said it's it's like cancer cells before they've turned into cancer. So it's like a
Okay.
white haze. When I go to see them next time, I'll take a picture of it and I'll send you a picture.
Ah,
Yeah, but it's
okay.
not like you can't see it. It's not
Yeah.
like as the cancer. She had to flick through like 5 or 6 different images to show me where they think it will be. So Dr. Bryden, who's done all the surgery to my head to cut the cancer out, he said he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do any more operations on me. So I've got to go for chemo or nothing else.
Right.
So,
Oh, 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 Christ, that speaks volumes, really, doesn't it?
well, it's taken this time last year till now for my head to heal up without having any stitches in it.
Yeah.
It's taken a year when they said it should take 3 months.
You're just a pain in the arse, aren't you?
Pain in the arse, aren't I? So
Yeah.
that's why he doesn't want to operate on me again.
Yeah. Because I suppose if he invites you in for a consultancy, he has to invite you 4 weeks before he expects you to turn up because you're going to be that bloody late.
Yeah. Might get my email wrong, mightn't I?
No, no. Of course you wouldn't get that wrong, would you, Andy? Your own bloody email. I'm thinking that we end this and then I link it to another podcast. So because Darren's trying to join us now.
Yeah. Okay.
So shall I end? I'll end this one now.
Yeah.
And then I'll send another invite and we'll join back again shortly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
See you
Cheers,
later.
matey. Ta-da.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Did I disappear? Did I?
You disappeared? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I was talking and it wasn't working. But yeah, Darren won't be able to join us. He's had connection issues, and I think he's having one of them days where he's just going to have a quiet evening and just chill for a bit. And I don't blame him, to be honest. And he wouldn't want to listen to Darren, Andy waffling on about his chemo. It's pretty boring stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about your chemo then, Andy. Are you? I mean, what do? Do you take it for a week and then you have a couple of weeks off and then you're back on it again?
I take it for a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've got 3 more weeks to go before I take another one. So I come off it yesterday, so I'm still feeling a bit sick now. So I'll probably take another week and a bit to get over the sickness and the fatigue and that kind of stuff. So I remember last time I did the first week, second and third week we're getting over it, and the last week I was back on board how I was before I took it. So I normally get 1 good week out of the 4 weeks. So that's how that's going to go.
Oh my word, he's just joined.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Darren.
What the heck? I don't know whether it's my phone playing up or what it was. I just couldn't get anything. All I kept on getting was a message saying the chat had finished, basically, and I had no options to join.
We don't want you on the call, Darren. Get the message, all right?
I've got the message. I've had a shit day today. Terrible day. Absolutely terrible day. I said to Jack, I shouldn't have even switched the phone on because I knew something would not work. It's one of those where everything just goes wrong. It's been an awful day, yeah. Sorry about that, lads. Anyway.
That's it. Anyway, so that brings the podcast to a close. So thanks for joining, Darren.
It's been great, mate. It's the best session I've ever had. Just getting on to an achievement.
So me and Aid were like, you've gone to Aldi and you're going to be going down the middle aisle buying a canoe and a saddle.
That's what we envisioned. We thought that's why he's late.
Envisioned you were doing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no good at it.
Oh, mate.
I'll just tag along and listen for a bit, lads, and I think I'll stop you in mid-conversation there, so I'll just listen and sort of just quietly join in.
Absolutely, mate. No, that's fine.
All right then, chaps.
Andy, you were giving us a bit of an update on your on your chemo plan. So
yeah,
you're going to be every 4 weeks then, by the sounds of it.
So you take them for a week, and then you've got 3 weeks to get over it. So last time I took them for a week, and then I had a week getting over and a bit, and then I was all right for my last week. Back to my normal self on the last week.
Yeah.
So
that reminds me very much of when I went through my chemo. It was every 3 weeks. So your first week would be the chemo,
yeah,
and then the second week it would sort of, it would knock
yes, knocks
the
you
crap
right.
knocks the crap out of you,
Yeah,
and then for the third week you start to perk up and you start to
yeah,
feel a bit better.
yeah,
And I remember, I think it was for my third week, I was allowed to come home. So I'd come home, because the chemo's sort of it's kind of worked its way out your system, I think, and it's sort of because you're taking loads of fluids and you're flushing it
yeah,
out, and then your immune system starts to build up. So I think that's when the white blood cells start regenerating and it starts building back up your immune system. So you start to feel better.
yeah,
And I remember, just because being stuck in a hospital for so long, just being on the drive, washing my car, on a beautiful hot sunny day, which you shouldn't really be in the sun, because if you're on any sort of cancer treatment and chemo, they don't want you in the sun. So I've got my sun hat on, I've got factor 500 on, and all that kind of thing, and I'm washing the car, and it was just, it felt amazing. It was just like,
yeah,
this is great. And then you start to feel better, and then you think, oh shit, I'm back in tomorrow, and it starts again.
yeah,
And then they hit you with another dose of it, don't they? And it knocks you straight back down again, and because it just wipes out your immune system, doesn't it? The chemo, as I
yeah.
understand it, just wipes it out.
It doesn't make you feel good at all, Aid. I mean, this was my first week, and I've got nothing left. It's taken it right out of me. Even if it was the middle of summer and my car was outside and it was filthy, it needed cleaning, I
Yeah.
wouldn't even be able to go up. I'd be like, be all right. I'll do it another day.
Yeah,
I've got no go to do anything.
no, just completely zaps you.
Yeah,
And just I found it immensely difficult just to get out of bed in the morning, and
yeah,
the nurses would come in the room. They come in at silly o'clock. I don't know if you ever had this, but you've just had a shit night of chemo. You've been pissing in bottles because you can't make it to the
yeah.
toilets. You're pissing in bottles, and then they walk in at about 6:30, and they go, "Good morning," and you're like, "Oh my god!" And then, "What do you want for breakfast?" And you're like, "Oh Christ! I'll have toast." And then 2 minutes later, somebody comes in and goes, "What do you want for lunch?" "I want for lunch. It's 7 o'clock in the pissing morning.
They do,
How do I know what I want for lunch?"
Yeah.
And you feel like crap, and they're like, "Come on." And they had to get me to sit on those wheelchairs that have got scales on. I don't know if you've ever had to sit on
Yeah.
those. And they weigh you, and they go, "Oh, you've lost a bit of weight." Bloody funny that, isn't it, really? Because you're pumping all this chemical crap into me. I've got no appetite.
No.
And the food you're giving me is from a kitchen which is 20 miles down the road, and it's sort of a ready meal, and you're asking me to eat that, and it's like, it's so difficult to eat and keep your appetite when you're going through some sort of treatment like that,
Yeah.
because you lose that that hunger, you lose that sort of taste. Nothing tastes the same, does it? It's a very metallic-y sort of
Yeah. It
taste.
tastes the same when you're on chemo, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It's like you're eating pennies and stuff like that. It's not.
Oh God, yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly like that.
Yeah.
And
Not nice.
and people are like, "Oh, we'll bring you some chocolate, or we'll bring you some crisps, because you like your crisps, don't you?" And you think, "Oh, I can't eat this,
No.
can't eat this." And then every once in a while, I'd get a craving. It'd be like in the afternoon, I'd go, "Oh, I just fancy a bit of Marmite on toast." And then so I'd ask my wife to bring it in, or bring in something, this, that, or sausage roll. Bring in a sausage roll. I'd love a sausage roll. And she brings one in the next day, and then I don't want it. And you feel absolutely awful. You've got all this fridge and full of stuff that you think at some point you'll probably like, but your appetite just goes completely out the window. I mean, are you eating at the moment, Andy? Is there anything that's sort of keeping you going?
I'm eating to stay alive, Aid. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in hospital for this brain surgery I had, I quite like white Kit Kats.
Oh yeah.
So I got my wife to bring me a white Kit Kat a day, which because I wasn't on chemo then. I was on antibiotics to get rid of this infection, so it wasn't like chemo. But I understand with you the food that they offer you there. It was like, oh, and then you ask for something, and I asked for chicken nuggets, and I got a pie, and I'm like, I don't want any. So I got my mum and Callie just to bring me little bits. Like they brought me fruit and stuff every day, but I thought, oh, can you bring me a white? I love white chocolate, a white, the white Kit Kat chunkies.
Yeah.
Them bad boys, they kept me going.
Yeah, they're lovely, aren't they?
Oh, they are.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the food is a big thing for you, isn't it, Darren? Because of the
Yes.
cancer that you've had.
Yeah.
It really impacts the way you eat, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it got me. I didn't have the chemo for so long as what you two did. Mine was given in a different way, really. Mine was given at the beginning of radiotherapy, and then at the end. But as rather than going in for like an hour or 2 hours and having like a flush and then some chemo, then another flush, and then you might do the following day or however they sort of program it in. I had to go in and have mine. I had to be there for 7 in the morning. I normally left about 7:30 of an evening, and I was on it for the whole day.
Yeah.
How long?
I had nothing for a few weeks, and then they blasted it again with another 12 hours of it, and then I think if you have nothing, it's a bit like having something and then you get it taken away from you. It's the same when you have nothing, you get it and it's like, wow, this is like, it just knocks you completely for six because it's not like you kind of introduced it. So you get like a pattern. The pattern, what you were saying, Andrew, was the same as when my mum had it and when my son was on it for 6 months. It was, you knew that would be the good week and that would be the mediocre week and then that would be the crap week.
Yeah.
And then so you kind of fell into that pattern. You knew what was coming. I kind of went up there to the first one. I was kind of okay really because I had to have that before I started the radiotherapy. So I did 12 hours of that, and then at the end of the day went on the evening one before they closed, and then they hit me with some radiotherapy on the end of the first one, and I was like, okay, that really didn't do anything. But then the following day, just everything in my system completely just went with the chemo because I think it was nothing, and then just this massive big dose of it. It's just no kind of getting used to it, So I didn't know what, and then when it sort of settled down after about 3 weeks, I was not far away from having it again, and then the second one was a lot worse than the first lot.
Yeah.
That just completely went. I had no control over my body with anything. It was horrible.
Because I kind of understand that the chemo goes around your body and its purpose is to wipe out the cancer cells, but
Yeah.
it can't just take out the cancer cells sometimes, and
No, mate. I think you're completely right.
and it has to take out your almost your complete immune system. So
Yeah.
it can't.
Yeah.
I think because your white blood cells are trying to if they're trying to make you better and they're trying to create new cells. But I think if I'm right with cancer, is that sometimes your body starts creating more and more cancer cells, and it doesn't identify that these are bad cells, and it doesn't kill them off.
No.
So
No.
those cancer cells then keep multiplying, and they go around your body, and the white blood cells aren't or the red blood cells. I think it's the white ones is your immune system. The white blood cells aren't getting rid of those. So when you have your chemo, you just blast all your immune system. You just get completely rid of it, and then hopefully you kill off the cancer cells as well, and then your
Yeah.
immune system picks up again, and then you wipe it out again. And I think
Yeah.
it could be a very crude way of looking at it, but that's kind of how I imagined it. It was like a complete flush, like I think you were saying.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep flushing this around your body, and then over a series of treatments, we'll see if we've been able to clear it. And so
Yeah. To try to pick up the stragglers. If it's just chemo on its own, then that's
yeah,
all you're going to have. And I think that's why I have it every day. If your main treatment's radio, then I think the chemo is kind of a backup. So it hits anything floating in your body is the idea, like you say, but it doesn't specifically pick out that one to that one. So I think over a period of time, everything gets hit. whether
Yes.
it's a good cell or a bad cell. It doesn't make any difference. I think it just sort of takes them all, and I think that's why and it's right what you say how that works, because I then got an infection. I passed out at home, and I didn't know why, and I thought it was going to be like a water infection or something. And they turned around and they said it's an infection that's gone, and I was having all sorts of effects with like with my red blood cells, and it was collapsing. They said, if this gets any lower, you're going to start getting internal bleeding, because everything was just going. And they said it was just the chemo that had caused it, because like your immune system had gone down, and then I was took in. I spent the next 8 days in hospital then on a drip to try to build everything up and to get rid of it, and then I was still having to go down for radiotherapy while I was feeling like that, took down the trolley. So there was no let up Monday to Friday. I just spent more or less the next 2 weeks more or less. I think it went just over the 8 days. They wouldn't they stopped giving me these sort of off the drip. They got things built up, but they wouldn't actually let me go, not until the blood tests were coming back okay, that I was strong enough to kind of go back. And then I felt like I was just stuck in the capsule. Don't go out here, don't touch this, don't let anybody in, sort of thing, which didn't really help things.
No, I mean that's interesting. You say that because you were saying that you still had to carry on your treatment. I think when I had an infection, I think when I don't know, you're bound to have had infections, Andy. I'd be amazed if you didn't.
No, when I was in last time,
Mm.
I had the plate put in and it all got infected underneath, and it pushed the plate out of my head. And it just split all the stitches around. And I woke up in the morning and I just had blood all over my face. So we had to take it out to see what was wrong. So it was all infected on the inside, so they had to get rid of it.
Jesus, mate. I mean, I had infections, but I didn't have anything to show for it. I didn't have it. I didn't look as though I'd got an infection. I just feel absolutely awful. And I was at home once, and I remember just saying to my wife, I just said, I feel I feel close. When you feel like you're close to fainting, but not, and you're just so low. And I went into the, and when she said, look, come on, we'll take you to Stafford Hospital. And we went in there, and I sat down, and I couldn't even sit down. I said, can I lie down? And they said, yeah. And then they did a blood test or whatever they do. And they said, well, you've got no immune system. You've got nothing that and that's why I was just absolutely shattered. And then they said, oh, you've got an infection. And for me, I couldn't do any chemo until they sort of sorted the infection out, and then I could carry on again. So it's horses for courses, really, isn't it? It's obviously very dependent on the type of cancer that you've got.
Yeah.
I think there's about 40 odd or 50 odd different types of cancers out there or something, and that sort of thing. And a big part for them is identifying which one it is and which treatment to use, and it's based on your genetic makeup or which
and your age and everything. There's a lot comes into it.
Yeah. And it's not just a case of just you've got a headache, so take a couple of paracetamol off the shelf.
No,
It's like, I've got cancer, but which one have you got? Well, we need to check your blood and find out what identifiers we've got in your blood, and you've got this one, so you can have that treatment, or you can have that one, and mine was I had something called a Burkitt's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which sounds fantastic. But it took them ages to find out, and they had to consult with consultants in America. And I remember my consultant saying to me that we've talked about you this morning, so that was quite flattering. And they said, we talked about you, and we've looked at your cancer and whatever, and you've got this Burkitt's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it's only about 100 people a year get it. And I was like, oh. So you first think, right, that's shit. Okay, right, so I haven't got the common one, so they're not going to have the treatment for me. And he said, yeah, we've got a treatment for you. This is your plan. You're going on it. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at you. Those were his words. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at you. Is there any questions? And I just said, no, just get on with it. And that was it, because I thought, the more you're going to tell me, the more I'm not going to want to hear this. So just do what you got to do and get on with it. And if I've probably said this on the other podcast, but if I can give any advice to anybody who's going through cancer, is just do as you're told. Just do it. I mean, these guys live and breathe this stuff, and if they say eat, if they say drink, if they say take this treatment, do this, whatever. Just so many people saying, I'm not going to do this treatment anymore because it makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just crack on with it.
Just get on with it, because
Yeah.
if you want to survive, you've got to do as you're told. Else,
Yeah.
it's just really, really get on with it. And I mean, that's why we're sitting here chatting now, because we've done as our told.
Yeah.
And we're still plodding along. But I mean, Andy they just keep throwing it back at you, mate, don't they?
They do. Yeah.
But so you had the bad news. So you got told that you got to go all through the chemo again.
Yeah.
So you
do 12 sessions of this chemo.
Yeah. So you thought, okay, what shall I do? Shall I sit here and mope?
Yeah.
And you thought, no, you thought you'd leave the country, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Spa race track for 3 days. I went with my brother and his friend.
Yeah.
For like a race day weekend. Yeah, really, really good. We drove down. We left my house on Sunday, 5:30. He picked us up. We went down to Calais, got on the train.
Yeah.
Went through France.
Oh, so you went on the tunnel?
Went on the tunnel through Bruges.
Lovely.
Yeah, all the way to Spa. Stayed in a lovely hotel. I think it was more of a BMW sort of thing. I think there was 7 BMWs in our pit lane. But apart from that pit lane, there was like Porsche pit lanes, there was Audi pit lanes, it was just anybody goes around the track kind of a weekend. But yeah.
Was there a Ford Mondeo pit lane?
No. No. But there was E30 M3.
Oh, an E30. That's the old box shape
the old
one, isn't
left-hand drive one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, they only did left-hand drive.
£100,000 worth of car driving past, and he was driving like he just stole it. Back into the
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there was there'll be a lot of BMW fans. E92 M3s there that were track ready to go on the track. So you buy them for like 29, 30 grand, and you spend 15 grand on them. So they've got roll cages and suspensions and hard hitches and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they had like rain tyres off touring cars, because they're 18s, and they got normal tyres and slicks off touring cars as well.
God.
So they were completely different league to like what I'm in. They were like, one was a plumber and he got 15 people working underneath him, and this was just as like me racing the full test around.
Yeah.
Didn't even bother him what he. I think.
So you did the full circuit then, as you would see the F1 track?
Yeah. So obviously I followed F1 quite a lot. And I just went for a walk the one day, and I walked, the long hill as it comes around the top. They put a massive stadium up there.
Yeah.
I went up there with my brother, on Rouge it's called, where you go down and up and round. Me and my brother sat on this, just me and my brother, the whole stadium. We were watching the cars go up, and it was just like, this just felt unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, it sounds great.
So we did all that, and obviously being Spa, it's wet one half the track and dry the other half. So on the first day, I met what was his name now? A chap called Robbie, who got an E92 stripped out to be on the track.
Yeah.
And obviously it was a wet day, and I seen him sliding around the corners. And obviously they all knew what I'd been through in this garage. He was like, do you fancy coming around the track with me? I was like, I want to, but I don't know whether I should. He goes, well, we haven't got slicks on, we've got rain tyres on, so there won't be much G-force. He said, I'll take you around, we'll do a couple of laps, and you can say you've been round Spa. I was like, go on then. So we did a couple of nice, quiet laps around there. It was really professional about all the things he asked me, and he took me around for a couple of laps, and job done. That's Spa off me bucket list.
Yeah. Oh, good of him.
So yeah, and we spent 3 nights there in the hotel. So it was 2 days of. So the first day was wet in the morning, then dry in the afternoon, and the second day was dry, so they all went on slicks. So yeah, no, it was really, really good weekend.
Yeah, it sounds it, mate.
I'm glad I did it. So
Yeah.
I come back and start my chemo. I come back on the Wednesday and start my chemo Wednesday night.
Oh, mate.
So,
I mean that's a great way to sort of go and have
yeah,
have a bit of time to yourself and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Did you feel it give you a bit of a boost, Andy,
yeah,
when you went
definitely,
there, like to come back before you started?
definitely, yeah.
Oh, great.
Also, I'd be like, oh, I've got to start on Wednesday, but I didn't think about it till I got home
Oh, smash it, yeah.
because they post my chemo tablets out to me now. So I have to go a week before for a blood test to make sure my white and red blood cells are okay,
Yeah.
and then they send it out to me if it is okay. Send me the chemo out, but yeah, it was a long drive, but yeah, it was good. Really was
Oh,
good.
great.
Yeah,
Great.
really enjoyed it. Yeah.
so how many circuits is that on your list now then? Is that your first one? Have you done the Nürburgring? Have you done that?
No, I've been to Silverstone
Yeah.
twice. I've been to
Mhm.
Spa.
Mm.
Going. Where am I going next year? I'm going somewhere next year. Racetrack.
UK?
No, it's one of the biggest ones in Formula One. Can't even think about it now. It's gone out of my mind.
Italy,
By
Imola?
by the docks there. It's like
Oh, Monaco.
Monaco. I'm going Monaco next year for my 40th birthday. That's where I'm going next year.
Oh, great.
So,
Yeah.
I want to do the ring as well because they're all saying how good the ring was, and it's not. It's like an hour away from Spa, 45 minutes away from Spa.
Yeah, it's not too bad a run.
Because you've been to Spa, haven't you, Aid?
I've been to Spa. Yeah, I kind of did I break in or did I kind of uh, we kind of found it, and I don't know if it was the same. There's probably different entrances, but as we arrived, there was a big sort of bit like a bridge barrier as you walked in, and it said Spa Champignon or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's mushroom in French, isn't it? But yeah, but it sort of said like that. And as you drove in, you could sort of look down at the circuit.
Yeah.
And if I remember rightly, down the right hand side was the pit was the pits. On the left hand side was sort of the grandstand, and then you could see in the distance the Eau Rouge or whatever you call it, going off in the distance.
Yeah.
And we just sort of parked up there. Me and my mate, we went to the Nürburgring, and we just pulled up, and there was just some trucks on the track. I think they were doing like a testing day or something. And I just parked up the Manta and just walked around. And then we just found out one of the gates was open. And before we just walked in, and we just sat in the stadium. Really, we were probably the only two spectators in the whole track, and that was kind of surreal, really, just to sort of think, oh my God, we're at Spa. And every time you see it on the telly now, I'll try and say, oh, I was sitting in that seat there, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, pick out. Yeah, great.
And it's nice to do. But the
Yeah.
Nürburgring is certainly one to do. I think it's up there. The fact that you can pull onto this circuit and it's, what is it, 15 miles, 16 miles long or something like that. And it's so tiring when you're racing there, where you just pull onto this track, and then you forget all the computer games that you've played, if you played Forza or you've played Gran Turismo,
Yeah.
and you think, oh yeah, I know this track like the back of my hand. As soon as you pull your car on there, you can't remember a bloody thing. And you go around there, and you're coming up to a crest, and you're thinking, right, do I go flat out over this crest? Do I not? So you think, no, I'll ease off because I don't know what it's like. And you go over the side, and it's a sharp left-hander, and it's a sharp right-hander. And then you go flying around this blind corner, and there's a bloody coach on there, because you can have coaches on there and motorbikes
and all sorts.
Yeah. Well, you've seen the
Madness,
Sabine going around the track
Yeah.
in a transit van. But yeah, I think anything that's got an MOT on it and can do more than 30 mile an hour or something, it's allowed on the circuit, and you kind of have to have your eyes everywhere.
God, yeah, I bet you do.
And after 50, 15, 16 miles, you're absolutely green crackered, and you're thinking, these drivers do it for a living, and they'll be out here for an hour and a half racing.
Yeah.
And after each lap, you have to come in and have a bit of a breather, and you have to let your brakes calm down because they're cooking like anything.
What car did you do it in, Aid?
I did it in my Manta.
Oh yeah.
I went round in my Manta, and I'd got the rally quad lights on the front, so I took those off so the engine would get more cooling.
Yeah.
And my mate was in the car with me on the first lap, and we went round. And as we came off, he says, "You can do the next one. I'm not coming round with you." I think I'd made him sick, bless him. So
No, but seriously, when I went with the lad who took me round,
yeah,
when we were coming, like he goes, "We'll do another one." It's on the third one. I did feel a little bit sick, like
yeah,
you know, I just felt like I'm going to be a little bit sick. I was like,
Yeah.
so that's why when people say, "Oh, you're making me feel sick," that's why, because like you're going quite some speeds around there.
yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's different when you're a driver because you're kind
you're
of
bracing yourself, aren't you?
yeah, exactly, yeah. Whereas when you're a passenger, I'm a nervous passenger, so I'd have been a wreck going around with somebody like
Yeah, and
Sabine
you're
or
not in
someone
control,
like that.
are you?
No, I'm not in control, and bless him, I felt really bad for him. But I did 4 laps, and my fourth lap, I thought I was Colin McRae. I thought I was the bee's knees. I thought I've got this, and I'm going round, and my brakes are so hot, my brakes aren't working. So I started braking with the gears,
Yeah.
which
Bit of engine braking.
yeah, I was doing engine braking. And I'd completely forgotten that this thing's got to get me home. This thing has got to get me home. No, that doesn't matter. I'm in the touring cars now, and I'm just like run down the gears like that. And then you see spectators, and they're waving at you. And because it's a Manta, it's a German car, they're bloody loving the Manta going round. And he's like, "Oh, English Manta," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm giving it some stick." And I'm probably not going anywhere near as quick as Sabine was, but to me, I was the fastest thing in the world. And
Yeah.
and then I remember coming to the ending straight, and then the car started going dang 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 dang, and I went, "Oh no, that doesn't sound right." Dang 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 dang. But anyway, I managed to get off the track, and I thought I'll let it cool down, and it's probably just overdone it a bit, and it's fine. But in the end, I found out that the oil pressure release valve had seized. So the is it oil pressure release valve or something like that, but and effectively the oil wasn't getting to the top end of the engine.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the pistons were smacking on the bottom of the valves. So I managed to get onto a autobahn, and then I got picked up for recovery, and I had to stay in Germany for 3 days while we had to try and get the recovery to come and pick us up and take us home and that kind of thing. So I was staying in a German hotel in a town called Adenau. I was there for 3 days watching German TV. Couldn't understand a word of it. Eating ham and pineapple for pretty much. They love sort of ham and meat and stuff like that, and pineapple. It was everywhere. I felt a bit bad because one of the tops I'd got on was an England polo shirt.
Oh no.
So I was
That's really
walking
bad,
through the
that is,
town with an England polo shirt on. I mean, how touristy and chavvy does that sound? And it was like, I felt really bad. I was trying to say, no, my other stuff's in the car. I haven't got any other clothes. I was wearing this English shirt for 3 days. So I must look like a right yob.
Oh, God.
But yeah, don't put you off, Andy. If you get a chance to go on the Nürburgring, mate, go and do it. It's
Well,
wanted to.
my brother was like, "We'll go next year. We'll take the Nova. We'll borrow my dad's pickup truck, and we'll go down there." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I might do. I don't know."
Why not? What's putting you off? Are you worried about the mileage or put on the car, or just how you're going to feel and how you're going to be?
I don't know. I don't know whether I want to take it on the track.
Yeah.
But he'll say that's what you built it for. So I mean, he says it's gonna be more fun than doing Santa Pod. I'm like, yeah. But I'm telling you now, these M3s that went round, they didn't even check the oil. After 3 days, I didn't see one of the bonnets open.
God.
They're that ready to go on track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't need to. Said it will come up on the dash if it's got no oil. I think, fucking hell, I'll be checking my oil after every time. I'll be checking my brakes. They were getting out of the car and checking the tyres are warm. I was like, okay. Yeah. But like your GT4 RSs, your GT3 RSs, they were flying around. Yeah. What's the name of that bloke who does the drag strip races on social media? Like he'll drive any cars, be like an Audi RS, an RS4, and they'll race them all up the straight. It's to do with a car selling. I can't think of his name now. He was there racing his car around.
All right.
Porsche give him a GT4 and a GT3.
Oh, Chris Harris.
Chris Harris, yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Top
there.
Gear
Yeah,
chap, yeah.
yeah. No, not Chris Harris. He's not Top Gear. I've seen him on Facebook.
Hmm.
I'll ask my brother what his name was.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what then, Andy. What we'll do is when you're finally got rid of this bloody cancer for the third time,
Yeah,
we'll go on a road trip somewhere. We'll go somewhere like in the UK.
yeah.
So you can go on the public roads, and we'll pick some. We'll go and do the scenic view of Scotland. Maybe do the 500 or whatever it's called, or something like that.
What isn't the one in Anglesey? The racetrack.
I don't know. That's a Google moment. That one is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do Anglesey racetrack. Let's see what comes up on Google. Yeah. Trackmon Anglesey.
Yeah.
There is one there.
Yeah.
Seen that on fifth gear, I think.
Hmm.
We could try that one.
You could do like that's a UK circuit. That's Wales, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Looks very nice. Looks a lovely little circuit.
It's a nice little track.
Mm-hmm. You get yourself on Kerbera. That's down the road from me.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Kerbera?
No.
It's a little race circuit in just outside Lichfield, and it's only a tiny little sort of figure of 8 kind of thing, but loads of car clubs go there on a Saturday and a Sunday, and if you're a member of a car club, you can just go and take your car around the track. It's free for spectators to go in. There's no real grandstand. It's just you just wander around the track, and you can wander in the pit area and have a look at some stuff. Maybe that's something we could do together when you're feeling a bit better in the new year. 3 of us can go and have a look at Kerbera and see what we think.
Nice show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be many shows we'll go to before then, Aid.
Yeah. I did see the classic show was on recently, and I thought you were probably there, Darren. Did you go?
Yeah, I was, mate. Yeah, went with me brother Lee.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't got a classic at the moment. He had to sell his one. He's actually had to pack in work. He was a HGV driver, and he's got this restless leg syndrome, so it's forced him to pack in driving HGVs, and then he's been suffering with it a lot, and it stops him doing other jobs because he can't sleep over night time. So he had to sell he got some sort of financial issues really, so he sold his little MX-5 Mazda, which he hadn't long had resprayed and all rebuilt basically. So he was a bit disappointed at getting rid of it, but things have settled down, and we went up there yesterday. We've been going for nearly 10 years now, the two of us, so we always go every year, and we just love to go in it. We have real good banter between ourselves, and it's a bit like us three really. It's nothing really sort of serious on it, and we just sort of go around and look at everything really, and we have a real laugh while we're there.
Yeah.
It's a really nice day. And he's told me that next, about 2 weeks' time, he's been looking for a little while, and he's going to get another classic. He's going for a Triumph Stag.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we see one that he really likes, so he's just sorting things out. And I said he was on about going to have a look at this one, but it's down in sort of down south Cornwall way somewhere.
He likes to drive then.
Yeah, it's quite a long drive there, and he said about it's like we're fetching it back, so would you come with us? And I said, well, I'm away next Friday anyway for a week, so I shan't be about. That's going to time in quite well, he said, because the chap that he spoke to, he's had COVID or he's got COVID, so he's just sort of he's not in a desperate rush to sell, and he knows Lee's interested in this stag that he's got. So he's hoping to, when I get back off my holiday, to go down and have a look. And he's asked me if I'd go down with him. I said, well, if you have a look at it and we go down, I said, we're thinking of, I think he will have the car, to be honest. And I said, well, we can go down, if I go down in that pickup in the L200, he's going to hire a trailer and we can fetch it back. Because you got like a 4.5, 5-hour journey, sort of getting there to where this bloke lives. I said, by the time you do that, and you're going to be fetching that car back, you're not going to be going on the roads that we'd be going down there on. And driving it back is probably going to be a 6-hour more journey. So it's going to be quite a long day, do you know what I mean? So I said it'd be easy really just to go down with a trailer, pick it up, straight back up, and then get it back to yours really.
Got
It's,
yeah.
Bit
Is
of
it
a
all
drag
kitted
when
out?
coming back for the first trip, isn't it? When you don't know it, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously with his leg problem, he might get in a bit of difficulty because he might have to keep on stopping. You see, go so far, stop, get out the car, and if you've got to do that 4 or 5 hour journey could turn into even like an 8-hour journey if his legs really play up. So I think it's too far for him to drive, to be honest.
And it's not. There's no power steering or anything like that, is there? So that's going to be.
No, that's right, mate. There isn't. No, so it's not like you're just sitting there totally relaxed and it's doing it, you know. And it's one of the one that you see in his manual as well. It's not the automatic stag, so he has got to keep working his legs as well, really, because he ain't going to want to be going straight back on the motorway with a car. So he's probably going to want to be picking different, you know, A roads and dual carriageways and that, or once you get so far back up, probably come up on the A39 or something like that, you know. So he's not going to be hitting it straight. It's different when you've had one for a while, you know. You get used to them, you know what they're capable of, you know what how far you can go with them, don't you? You know, but when it's a complete new car he's never had before, he's going to need to get used to it more, I think, really, and get to know the car better before we come on the journey that length. These real long journeys are kind of becoming a thing of the past, really. He wants it just for sort of local and sort of short trips where we can stop easily, you know.
Mm-hmm. I've got a friend of the family who's got a stag, and a few years ago I went. He's a member of the Triumph Owners Club, and they did this sort of weekend rally where they drove from Milton Keynes, they drove up to Scotland and then drove back down again, and it was one of these ones where you're pretty much driving all through the night and you swap the drivers around and do that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, great.
And we did that, and we got up into Scotland. I think we got near Stirling or something like that, and then the viscous fan broke and it came off and it blew into the radiator and burst the radiator. So we were stranded in Scotland, so we had to come back on the recovery truck. If I'm honest, I was glad. I was glad because driving at night, I love driving, but then trying to sleep in the back of a Triumph Stag, because there's 3 of you. You're trying to sleep in the back of a Triumph Stag.
Where did you sleep?
I was on the back seat, just curled up, and all I could hear was the fuel pump going. And I'm like, oh God! And then I couldn't get to sleep. And then you hear, oh wait, it's your turn to navigate, and you're like, oh, I've had no sleep. I'm now navigating. So then I'm navigating, and then you think,
exhausting, mate.
Yeah, and then when you finish navigating, it's your turn to drive, and it was no, I'm absolutely shattered. So when it packed up, I had to play that look gutted. You know, I had to look gutted and think like that. But I was thinking, oh, thank God I can have a sleep in the recovery truck. But I mean, that was great fun to do something like that. Yeah. You had a map and you had the instructions, and you had to get to a certain checkpoint by a certain time. And you check in, and so that was great fun. And I'd love to do something like that again, but one where you could have a sleep travel lodge at night, and then you could have a big breakfast in the morning, and then you could crack on.
That sounds right.
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
I think when this podcast is world famous, we should have our own Cars and Cancer annual drive or whatever. And that kind of thing. And that's what we'll do. We'll do something like that. But nice cars. The Stag. They're very distinctive looking sort of car. And
they are. I've always been quite fond of them. Really, you get a lot of people say no, they don't like them, but problem with the overheating. But it's only because the expansion tank was so low down in the front wing, and it was too low down. If you just raise them up, the water has to find its lowest level, don't it? So why they put the expansion tank so low down when it needed to pick it up? It's like going up a steep hill. You're never going to get it out when it needs more water.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
But apparently he was saying that when he's been looking into it, it turned out to be something to do with the electrics on the car, that when they was doing it, to get to what they wanted to do, it was put out for another firm to do this side of the work on it, and apparently it was easier for them to do their job if that tank was there, not higher up. But they didn't tell Triumph this, so after so long, they started getting problems with the overheating with them, because when it did need some more extra water there, it couldn't draw it out.
And it was just
And that's all it is, and you see a lot of them. They have these modified, new, all different shaped kind of aluminium water tanks put higher up, so the water's there. It can actually get to water if it needs it, and it needs the extra water there. And a lot of them just change the fans. They just put the like electric fan on, and they have the wider aluminium rads that I've got on mine, because it's sort of like 30% more efficient with the water coolant going around. And they don't have any problem at all. And there's one chap who's speaking to, and they're all really, really helpful in the club, really helpful.
Yeah.
And he was chatting to him, and he said that he does about 5,000 miles a year in his, and he goes over to France most years in it. He takes it around, and I thought, now that is what a classic car should be done. No, I think that's what they should be used for.
I think you're right.
Fair play to you, not just sticking it. Oh, and it looked lovely. This car he's got, absolutely. It was white with mirror flake in the paintwork. It looks absolutely beautiful.
Well, I think that cars are to be driven, aren't they?
Definitely, Aid. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I get cars in a museum. I understand that. I understand that you well a preservation that you need with certain cars, but I think for somebody like I don't understand how you have these sort of, I don't know what they call them, garage queens or something like that, cars where people just don't drive them. They just put them in a garage and they just buff them up and they're absolutely immaculate, and they've got mirrors underneath and that kind of thing. They take them to a show, and then you put it back on a trailer and you take it back again. And I get the fact that it's immaculate, and I get that, and it looks absolutely wonderful. But surely it's more fun.
Is it not called concourse?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, they do a full nut and bolt, don't they? And
yeah,
it's like...
but no disrespect, but surely anybody could do that. Anybody could go to a garage, go to a restorer and say, look, can you restore this, I don't know, Fiat Panda to immaculate condition? Yeah, we can do that. That's absolutely fine. And then it looks immaculate. And you can tow it on a trailer anywhere, but isn't it? You should be driving it, shouldn't you? You should be out there. And
that's the fun of it, isn't it? It's got to be the fun of the car. The first thing you do with any car, the seat, and you think, no, I don't like driving this. Or you think, yes, I love this. And you get in the car and you never get bored of sitting behind the steering wheel, then you've got the right car for yourself, haven't you, really?
Yeah. Yeah, something that puts a smile on your face. I mean, Andy, you wouldn't put all those gubbins on your engine if you're just going to let it sit there, are you? You're going to want to use it.
Yeah. We use them.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I haven't got the money to do something like that. That's probably why I'm jealous. But I just think if you've got a car, go out and enjoy it. And
I totally agree with you, mate. You should do.
Yeah. And have some fun with it. And if you're going to get stone chips, you get stone chips, and you get them repaired and all that kind of thing.
Well, that's it. And as far as the bodywork goes, for like preserving it corrosion-wise, there's better things on the market now than what they've ever had. So if you look after it and you've done it properly, it can rain as much as it likes. It's not going to hurt your car.
Yeah. I mean,
it's too well protected. And you never used to be able to get like seals. You could spray little tubes inside and put cameras down and put chemicals in them to make them sort of rust proof, would you? It was a case of you stick the Tetrasil on where you could get to it, and what you couldn't get to rotted.
yeah, that's it.
Here you go.
You're
but
nowadays,
right. You do it properly. There's no reason why you can't take it out in any conditions.
No, and sometimes you do all this work to a car, and I imagine majority of the time you end up selling the car on anyway because you fancy a change and you fancy something new, and
you end up with another project, don't you? Really?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
All right then. Yeah. Okay, so if we're going to sort of come towards the end of this sort of podcast, then if I was to say to you, if you had to sell your car now. So if I say there's no option, you've got to get rid of it. So Andy, the Nova's going, mate. I'm sorry, and Darren, the Jag's going.
Yeah.
And you had to go and find another car to to be your project and stuff, what would you be thinking of? What would be the first thing you'd be looking at?
The first thing, as in a model of a car, or
Yeah. So if I said to you, it's got to
so
go. You've got to
if I
go
never
and
had
find
anything
another car.
else, right?
Yeah.
And I only had the Jag.
Yeah, and you're on Car and Classic. You're on the Car and Classic website, and I said, right,
Yeah.
go on here and find a car. What's the first manufacturer you're going to put in? Because what car are you looking for? What are you thinking?
I think. Well, I'm looking at this as if I never had anything else, just the Jag.
Yeah.
And I would go for an SD1.
An SD1. So that's the
SD1.
Rover, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got you. So anyone in particular?
Yes, I would. I think I would go for a Vitesse, but
Yeah.
they called a Vandenplas EFI, and they reckon that it was the top of all. Although the twin plenum is probably one of the most sought after ones because of what they had to do to get it for the racing, it's kind of the EFI just had everything on it in its time, and it was like it was up there with all the big sort of luxury cars, really. Yeah, I think definitely, and I can't remember the last time I even see one come up for sale or even at a show, to be honest. They've really gone rare.
Are they the ones with the big black spongy spoilers?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I know exactly. With the cross spoke alloys, deep dish.
You got they're very similar to what's on my Jag, to be honest. The alloys and what they get the Vitesse alloys are, and the same as what you get on a lot of the BMWs. On the 5 Series used to have mine, I think it's the 5 Series had them. The little sort of crisscross things, you know. Yeah, very similar to them because they do look the same as what they put on the BM, to be honest.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
But widely used.
Okay, so what colour we want it in as well? Red?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. The
Yeah,
red and the black
red.
Good,
yeah. Targa red.
Targa red. Okay, I'll see what I can get for you.
Cheers, mate.
Okay,
it's not on till Christmas, you know, so can you please hurry on?
Right, Andy. I've had a guess at what you would look for.
Well, you've got to be good on this one, Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to be really good to guess what I'd want.
Oh, okay. So I've gone for a BMW.
Yeah.
Now I'm not very good with my E's. The obvious one is an E30, but I think you'd probably want something a bit more modern than that. So I don't think you'll go E30. You'll probably go what was after the E30? The
36.
36. That was a slightly curved shape, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what was the one after that? The 39?
So you've got E36, E46.
Okay. I think you're gonna go for a BMW E46.
No, I think I'd go for an E30 M3 in red.
Oh, I've got it written down here. BMW E30 M3.
In red, yeah. If money was no object, I'd probably have one of those. My dream car, E30 M3.
Even left-hand drive?
Yeah, they only made them in left-hand drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be okay with left-hand drive?
Well, I'd give it a go, wouldn't I? I'd have to fly to Spa on the right side of the road, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
That's what I'd go. If money was no object, 100 grand E30 M3.
Jesus.
Red with gold wheels. Yeah. That's what I'd have, Aid.
That sounds very nice.
Yeah.
All right then, chaps. What am I going for?
Yeah. What would
it be? I know you like Fords, but I've not heard you talk about the RS models much, so I don't know whether I'd go with an RS model for you, Aid.
Mm-hmm. Okay, come on then. So what am I going for then? So you don't think it's a Ford then?
Oh no, I'll go for a Ford, but not an RS model.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So is it something like a 1.6 GL Cortina then? Is that what you reckon?
Or a Morris Ital.
Yeah, Morris Ital, that's what you're having, a Morris Ital.
I remember my dad having the Cortina. I think it was the Mark. Would it be the Mark II? And it was yellow with a black bar on the roof. The 2 litre GT.
Oh, lovely. That sounds nice.
Cracking looking car. I loved it. Yeah, it really was. It was really nice, actually. Really nice.
Cool. Okay, it's not a Cortina.
It's not a Cortina.
It's not a Cortina.
Right.
Is it
Okay.
a Ford though, Aid? Am I on the right direction?
No, it's not a Ford. I'm sorry.
Oh. An Audi.
It's your turn.
Audi
No.
Quattro?
No.
No. It's
No.
not an Audi.
It's not an Audi. No.
It's a newish car.
It's a what, sorry?
Newish car.
No. So if you think about what sort of motorsport I like.
Rallying.
Yeah, there you go.
6R4.
No.
Oh man. I'm in the right side of it. That kind of.
You're in. It's a little bit after that.
Okay.
Right.
Is it Vauxhall?
No. Don't swear at me.
I swore at you when I said Ford, but yeah.
It was the four-letter F word. Yeah.
It's not Audi, it's not Vauxhall, it's not Ford.
No. Come on, rally giants. Great British drivers drove them. They've got that distinctive engine note.
Are they rear-wheel drive?
No, four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive. It's not an Audi.
Blue with gold wheels.
Oh, Subaru Impreza.
Yes. Yeah, I would release the inner chav in me.
Colin McRae.
Yeah. I think one of the early ones, the 4 doors, what was it? What was the 3-door called? The P1.
Yeah, P1. Yeah.
I'd have the original 4-door McRae Subaru, not because it's particularly well refined or because it's not even the best looking car in the world. Just that engine note, just that boxer engine. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I think it's the only engine that sounds like the V8. I think.
Yeah.
Good V8.
And you can hear it a mile off. I remember being in traffic jams, and I'd say to the girls, "That's a Scooby," and they go, "Listen for it," and you go, oh, gorgeous, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's not the most expensive car, but I've always wanted one, but I've never had the balls to buy one, and never had the money to maintain it and stuff. But I think that's what the first thing I would look for.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
Colin McRae used to drive a Vauxhall Nova Sport. You know that?
Yeah, that was his first car, wasn't it?
Hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he soon realised how crap they were, and he moved on.
Up then, didn't he? Moved up.
Yeah.
He moved up.
Yeah, probably because that thing didn't move. So, oh, that's a good. Yeah, what cars did he have? I think he had the Nova.
He had a
Scooby.
Scoops. Yeah, the Subaru.
Yeah, he drove a Focus.
He had an Escort Cosworth, didn't he? I don't know. Did he drive the Cosworth? The Escort?
Oh, I don't know. I know he had a Sierra. He drove the Sierra for a bit. Sierra Cosworth, I think.
I don't know.
Or is that Jimmy McRae? I might be getting confused. No, what did he drive? Yeah. But I remember seeing seeing Colin McRae coming through the forest. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if you've ever watched the rallying in the forests, but
yeah,
7 o'clock in the morning. You know that the sort of the mist is there, and you can hear the whistles in the background with the marshals as the car's coming through.
Yeah.
And then you can just hear that, and it's like bang, 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 bang. It's getting nearer, and those whistles. And we're standing and we're watching this car fly over the crest, all 4 wheels off the ground, and he's gone over this jump sideways. So as he passes us, the front of the car is looking at us and just passes us, and it lands, and then he turns it back round, and you're just thinking, my God, I've never seen a driver on it as much as Colin McRae. I mean, I've never seen anybody drive as fast as him. But he crashed so many times. But the balls of that guy to drive the way he did was just absolutely incredible. And the ironic thing is that, like with Richard Burns, sadly the two of them died, and it was nothing to do with the sport, was it? It was.
No, it's ironic, isn't it, Shane?
But Colin. So I'd be my Colin McRae. I wouldn't put any of that livery on it. It would just be the nice dark blue, whatever it's called, with the gold wheels. And I'd just drive around your houses every now and again, just so you could just hear me. And then
early hours in the morning.
That's it. Yeah, just as you're about to sort of settle down for the night, I'll just sort of drive past. Yeah, I think we've done quite well for this evening, gents.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yeah, I bet you're pretty tired now, aren't you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm gonna pack up, say night to my wife, and go to bed.
Yeah, you're gonna have your cocoa.
No, I've had my brew, so I'm all right.
You've had your brew.
I've had my brew.
And you're gonna have a better day at work tomorrow, Darren.
I hope so. Yeah, because it's just one of those things where it's just if it can go wrong, it will go wrong, and that just seems to be everything today. And I don't kind of know why. So at one point, I was like, "That's it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the podcast. I'm not even going to try to do it anymore. I'm going downstairs." And I thought I'll just go downstairs with the hump then, so I better not. And then when I finally clicked it came on. I'm like, "Yay, it's on!" Yeah, so I'm glad it's finally came on because I feel 10 times better now, boys.
Oh, good. I am glad.
You sure it wasn't because Aldi was selling one of those boats that you wanted to grab? What's your canoes?
Yeah. We were just saying, wonder where the barcode would be on your canoe, and that'd be a nightmare to run through the till. And oh god, yeah, you'd have to get that. You'd have to get that in your car and all that kind of thing. It's just, I just wouldn't bother. I'd leave the canoe there. Andy's even bought a canoe from Aldi. Yeah. That's even more bizarre.
A couple of years ago, I bought one from Aldi. I think I got it from Lidl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you consciously go in to buy one?
No, because we were going on holiday the day after. We wanted to.
Because I find
everybody was down there 10 minutes before the doors open, to get in the queue. They probably only had a couple of them.
Do you not find that if you go to Aldi or Lidl with a plan to go and buy something, you go, right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy, I don't know, an iron fireplace. So you go in, you walk in, and they haven't got it. They don't have it. They never have it. It's like when you go to bloody IKEA and you go all the way around and you get to the end and then they haven't got what you want. And then 6 months later you'll go in and there'll be hundreds of the bloody things, but you don't need it anymore now.
No, you don't.
Stupid. I don't understand it. Anyway, rant over. It's my moan for the day. Well, as always, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, it has, yeah.
Yeah. We'll hopefully catch up again next week. We'll see how you're doing with your treatment, Andy. Yeah. And if you feel up to it, we'll crack on. And if not, then we'll do it whenever we can, really. So have a pleasant evening, and I shall speak to you gents again very soon.
See you later.
Yes, look forward to it, both of you.
Okay. See you later, gents. Bye. Take care.